We back live.
All right, everybody, we're back live. We apologize for the technical difficulties. The other folks will join us momentarily, so we just gonna kick it right back off. So J3, we just gonna run it from the tippy top. Go ahead and hit the intro, and we're gonna take it from there.
All right, hold on.
All right. Thank you so much for rejoining us, everyone. Once again, good evening and welcome to the Positions on Sports Talk Show, post live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positions on Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, for the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports. So you know how we do. We're going to introduce each other. So J3, say what up to the people.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Excellent. And I'm Professor J, your pseudo host for the moment. And then we got Big Ed. Ed, say what's up.
What's up, fam? Hopefully we got those technical difficulties behind us. Let's talk some sports. Good to see everybody.
Amen. And Jay Wills will be back with us shortly. And then, of course, we have Big Reg and our super correspondent G. Say what's up, y'all.
What's up, family? Sorry for the issue, but we're gonna keep it moving right along. How you feeling this evening, G?
I'm feeling good, thank you. Looking forward to speaking with y'all this evening.
Excellent. All right, Big Reg, you got it.
All right, so this evening we're gonna talk combat sports, little NFL off-season updates, do a little NBA mid-season update. It's NCAA championship week. Of course, we got the professor's post takes, a couple of topics that caught our attention this week, and our final post of the evening. Jay Wills, back in the building. What's up, my brother? How you feeling this evening, partner?
I'm feeling amazing. Feeling good. Glad to be back with my guys. I feel like I let you down, similar to what happened with the Lakers. But we're not going to have a 10 straight losses. We're not going to have 10 losses. That's not how we work.
Oh, so you, Anthony Davis, you just been on, injured reserve for a few weeks.
Consider me a tall, light-skinned, curly-haired guy for the day, fellas. That's all I had.
Oh, it's good to have you back, Jay Williams.
It is good to have you back in the building, brother. Well, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. So sit back, relax, enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show. So, in celebration of Women's History Month, I want to start the show off by talking about an event that happened on Friday that a lot of sports fans may not even realize was going on. Clarissa Shields, unarguably the most decorated female boxer of all time, two-time gold medalist winner, three-division professional boxing champion. Yes, I said that right, three-division, and she did it in the reverse order. Most boxers gain weight and go up. She started at super middleweight, won all the belts there, went down to middleweight, won two of the belts there. The other champion didn't want to fight, so they just vacated the belts. Then she went down to junior middleweight, and she had two belts, and she went to fight an undefeated fighter, Marie-Eve Descartes, to unify the junior middleweight belt. But what was so special and historic about this event, this was the first ever all-female pay-per-view event in boxing history.
Beautiful.
And why did that happen? Because Clarissa Shields, for the past year, has been going back and forth with Showtime Sports, trying to get a date to do this fight. Showtime has been her normal network that she's been boxing on, whether she does it on Showtime or they put it on their affiliate, which is CBS. But for over a year, they canceled 2 dates. And then after canceling 2 dates, they wouldn't assign her a new date. So she decided to take things into her own hands. So she sat down with a management company and they put on their own pay-per-view boxing event last Friday. So not only did she do the first pay-per-view, she also became a promoter.
Nice.
Then she actually did the fight. Again, she was fighting another undefeated fighter, a young lady, Dakari, who's from Canada, who had over 24 fights, undefeated. And she did a whitewash. Won every round, almost knocked her out twice. In the process, she became the first champion to unify 2 separate weight divisions, male or female, ever in boxing history. So Clarissa Shields, when I say she's making history, she's making history.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And she did it at a price of $29.99. She had a streaming platform of Fight TV, and then she used in demand for pay-per-view, so it was available on most pay-per-view cable stations. So just a great show. And for all you people who like to support female sports out there, we've got the best female boxer in history, and she can't even get a date through the regular networks. It's a shame.
Well, the problem with this is, Big Reg, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It was on mute. That's why we didn't hear him.
So here's, Professor, do you want to go? You were on mute.
No, go ahead, Ed.
So Clarissa is an interesting and a fascinating person. She's from Flint, Michigan, first of all, and she's actually really done a lot for not only for her community, but as you just highlighted, Big Red, she's done a lot for women's boxing. But the problem with women's boxing is this, and this is kind of what she was going through with Showtime behind the scenes. The support for women's boxing just isn't there. The depth as far as the fighters is just not there. She's wiped out every division, as you highlighted once again. She's wiped out everybody that she's faced. So really the gap between her and everyone else is so wide, it's not even interesting at this point as far as of actually getting fights that everybody wants to see. So what she should do, or what I think she should do, because this is one of the things that we talk about all the time with boxing. As great as boxing is, it's so fragmented, and it's just not promoted the way it needs to be promoted. The UFC, Dana White doesn't have this problem with great female fighters being highlighted, being promoted, being famous, being paid right. It doesn't exist because there's one voice for the most part, and the attraction is there for athletes to gravitate towards that. Women's boxing is just not supported the way it needs to be supported. And so Clarissa's going to have a really hard time moving forward unless she goes the UFC route, which there's rumors that that's where she's headed. So, yeah, congratulations to her. I mean, she's doing everything she can to prop up women's boxing, but unfortunately, women's boxing and the public in general, they're not supporting her for all her efforts.
Yeah, to me, it's going to take an effort, sort of like when the WNBA, and I forget the other women's league that first started out in the beginning, where there wasn't a whole lot of buzz around it, but you had to bring more fans, you had to put more eyes on it, you had to get more people writing about it, you had to get more people reporting about it. I guarantee you, if this story was on the front page of ESPN, go to that front page right after the fight happened. All you saw was UFC stuff, all the other stuff. You got to dig in order to get that. You put this stuff on at the forefront, you'll get more eyes looking at these types of things and then giving credit where it's due. If she needs to go the MMA route to bring some popularity back to it, hey, I mean, Conor McGregor did it. Why can't she? So the thing that I would say is, I mean, since Layla Ali, have we not seen a light shown on boxing, women's boxing, the way that we need to have it shown today? Yes, us purists here can talk about it all day, but how do we get the casual fan brought in so that they can start, populating, buying the cheaper pay-per-views and all that kind of stuff and start raising that level of competition? And that's the other thing. You need more than just her as well. You need some more competition, and like you just said, she wiped out everybody that would even be considered a contender. So I'm just thinking that more effort needs to be put in by other women in the sport in order to make it happen.
But Professor J,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ed.
Real quick, but Professor J, at the end of the day, it's up to fans to gravitate towards that, and I think there's a lot of sexist biases involved with this, as far as people actually wanting to go see and support women in that arena. Now, certainly it can be done, because as we witnessed the other night with Miss Nunes. Is that how you pronounce her name? Nunes?
Nunes.
Nunes. I'm sorry. So certainly the names are there. The people will support a good product, but there's just nobody. They have no support. She was literally out there on her own.
Yeah.
Organizing the fights, promoting the fights, fighting the fight.
So you just said it. It's the promotion. If we can get some of these top-ranked boxing promoters to really start putting in to that, then we can start changing that. And that's what Dana did on his platform.
But like you said, also is you got to have enough female fighters to actually want to view the matches. There's not a lot of female fighters that you want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was definitely on display in the card that Clarissa put together. I mean, there were certainly there weren't a lot of traditional tactical boxers that were in those fights, and it's unfortunate to watch, because if you're a true purist, if you want to watch a good boxing match, that's not necessarily what you're getting. But I think that I would disagree. I think that it's also a problem in MMA. I think it's also, Amanda Nunes, who is she going to fight next? Like, it's a recurring issue, and I think that you're right. There's a lot of sex undertones. I don't know how the general public still struggles with watching women fight. And so I don't necessarily know what the solution is, but to give Showtime a pass and say, oh, like we're not going to put on the fight because there might not be enough interest, it's just a weak answer. The interest is only going to be generated by putting on the fights, and they had an obligation to do so, and they didn't do it. And the fact that she had to put it on herself, while it was a great opportunity to bring a fight to plan and to support her community, it was a missed opportunity, I felt, for Showtime.
Yeah. You need sponsorships too. Nunes, the Modelo commercial. If you remember Ronda Rousey, look at all the commercials she did when she was champion. I mean, there has to be a certain way that you promote the sport so that more eyes will see who these women are, not just who the champ is, but also the other ones that are fighting in those divisions as well.
And that would drive more women to that sport, because the promotion, it's all about promoting. Like you say, in Dana White's case, he at least puts it out there. He does a way better job than the boxing promoters do. But again, boxing is so fragmented. I don't even know who would we even go to say, hey, can we work this out? Like who's even in charge?
Matchroom Boxing, which is a British promoter that does fights here in the U.S., they have British Olympian Katie Taylor, who makes between $500 and $1 million per fight, currently boxing on the undercards of their fights, because they're putting the money behind it. It's an investment thing. When Dana White first brought Ronda Rousey into UFC, they had like 4 or 5 ladies that they brought in. They didn't have a bunch of people, but Dana put the money behind it, promoted it, saw that it could bring in viewers, and then he invested in finding other fighters. The fighters are out there. It's just you have to find them and let them know there's an avenue available for them to actually be able to become professionals and make a living doing it. Most female boxers either convert to MMA if they really want to be a combat sports person, or they just do it as a pastime and they stop boxing because the average female fighter makes $50,000 a fight. And if they're lucky, they get 1 fight a year.
Oof.
And out of that, you got to pay your corner, your trainer, and all that stuff. So when it's all said and done, they're probably making 20 grand.
Wow.
It's a lack of investment. The same thing happens with the WNBA. And Dana White has proven with UFC, his biggest pay-per-views, besides Conor McGregor fights, have been Ronda Rousey fights, and now Amanda Nunes.
I mean, there's still problems in the UFC too. I mean, we'll get to this. I mean, we'll get to the UFC fights of this weekend. But the best fight on that card was Amanda Nunes' fight, like hands down. She's also the only one that was put up for it as a champion who, the person that we were all supposed to root for, who actually won her fight that night, not by technicality. So why wasn't she not the co-main, but clearly the main? Why are we talking about Adesanya, who didn't even win his fight?
But because the Adesanya, we go ahead and roll in right in UFC, the Adesanya fight was champion against champion. It was the middleweight champion coming up in weight to fight the light heavyweight champion. So that was 2 champions fighting against each other. So that had to be the main event.
Well,
Or does the best fight of the night have to be the main event?
Well, we thought that would have been the best fight of the night. Unfortunately, talking about UFC 259, I got to give credit. I thought Israel Adesanya was going to pick apart Jan Blachowicz and use his speed. He had a longer reach, even though he was coming up in weight, and use his kickboxing talent to beat him. And he kind of did that for the first 2 rounds, but he never really engaged correctly, I believe, with Jan, because I think he was scared of the power. He didn't want to get hit.
Oh, yeah. He was definitely scared of the power. Definitely.
And then once Jan grabbed him, he laid for the whole
And that's what he could not afford for him to do. And if you listen, the commentators were like, Adesanya probably thought he was going to come out with the grappling and floor game, but he waited until the latter part of the third round in order to start doing it. And then once he did it in the 4th and 5th, it was over. You could clearly see Adesanya gasping for air every time he put that weight on him when he was on the ground.
I also think there was just a general lack of adaptability that Adesanya portrayed. He kept doing the same thing over and over again. And so Jan didn't have to adapt. He was just like, oh, okay, if this is going to work, you're not going to do anything differently. And I know if I get a clean punch, I could probably knock you out. So it was not as impressive as we would have hoped.
Yeah, I think if they do it all again, he would have a different game plan. But y'all both just said it. He was afraid of getting that one punch and getting knocked out. So he had to kind of go to plan B, and plan B didn't work for him.
Yeah, because it was different. The other champs have gone up 10 pounds to get their other division. He went up 20 pounds.
That's too much.
He went up from 185 to 205. Yeah. He weighed in at 200.5. He didn't even get up to the limit. Jan weighed in at 205, and I guarantee you he put on 15 to 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So he was outweighed easily by 20, 30 pounds. So, and unfortunately, but hey, Israel is still the master at middleweight. And like you said, he's gonna rule the middleweight with an iron black fist. So he just gotta realize if he's gonna go back up to light heavyweight, he's got to do it gradually and actually put on muscle and get bigger, which means he'll never be able to fight at middleweight again.
So do you think that that's going to be his game plan, that he'll work his way back up, or do you think he stays down?
I think he fights at least 2 more fights at middleweight before he tries to make that jump again.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the beauty of UFC is that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And the beauty of UFC is there's no losses happen. Everybody going to get got. So it's not like it's going to hurt his earning potential unless it's like, it's like devastating, but which it wasn't.
Conor McGregor.
Right. So, at some point in time, they're all going to lose. So it's not really no loss. He's still a champion.
For the casual fan like me who saw a little bit of going back and forth between Israel and John Bon Jones, is that a possibility that they'll ever be in the ring? Are they in 2 separate divisions, weight classes, or what?
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen because John Jones has now moved from light heavyweight, which this last fight was. His next fight's going to be at heavyweight, which is 225 and above. So he's never going to get back down to 205, and Israel's got to get up to 205. So unless they do some special catch weight, I don't see that ever happening.
You just hurt my feelings, Reg. Are you saying I can't get down to 205?
Well, there might be another Popeye's chicken sandwich craze this summer. He might binge on those.
But as G said, the best fight of the night was the Lioness. Amanda Nunes came in and did her thing. It only lasted a round. But I mean,
quick work.
That's scary.
She's got the exact same problem Clarissa Shields had. She's cleared out 2 weight divisions. She's beat every name in women MMA. What's left for her to do?
Yeah, but she got the money and the notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at least she has options. Even though she cleared out the divisions.
So it's just like her. How can she beat them in a different way and just beat herself?
Well, like I said, G, I think that in MMA, at any given fight, even as dominant as she looked and she is, at any time, it just one kick and that's a wrap. I mean, it can happen. It can happen. Now, whether or not people want to see those rematches, that's something different. But
it sounds like they need someone, a good lawyer, maybe someone who just passed the bar in New York to negotiate. Sometimes you got to use the people, That's I think.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
That's a good plan.
And then the other title fight, Petroyan, excuse me, pronounce the man's name right, was winning the match. And then illegally kneed a man in the head that was already on the ground and got disqualified.
What an idiot.
Yeah, that match was hard to watch. What I think was stark was that the report soon after the fight ended, minutes after the fight ended, was that he had asked his corner, "Can I hit him?" And they said yes. Which indicates to me that perhaps there was a language barrier, communication barrier between him and the ref, because he was in the ring and said, "You can't take the keys down, you can't hit him." And then Petroyan goes and asks his corner, and they give him that instruction. And so, I mean, that deserves further investigation about whether or not that's true. But if that is true, that's terrible that Tony's felt that way.
But hitting and kicking are 2 different things. He can hit him while he's on the ground. He needs the man in the face. He's been a professional. He's a title holder.
Right.
He should know the basic
Right.
rules. If you what they call grounded, if you have a knee on the ground or you're physically laying on the ground, you can't knee them in or kick them in the head.
Right. Here's my problem with that. The moment you gotta ask if you can do it, you already know some gray area.
Right.
So why take a
Exactly.
chance? You're the title holder. You know the rules of the game. Why take a chance and being disqualified? You're winning the fight. Why take a chance and get disqualified and lose your belt? That was my issue with the whole thing. Like, what are you asking for? Just let him get up.
Good point.
Very
Good point.
I mean, he was dominating.
Yeah. So Aljamain Sterling is the new champ, and you saw what he did. He took the belt and threw it in the middle of the ring and walked out.
Because he ain't running like that. And I understand that.
So I look for them to have a rematch probably as soon as this summer. So one last thing about boxing before we get out of the combat sports. Did y'all see that Teofimo Lopez's next fight? He was beefing with his promoter, Top Rank. So because they couldn't come to agreement on a final purse, it went to purse bid. And usually when it goes to purse bid, the main promoter usually wins the purse bid. Didn't happen this time. The company called Triller, which is the company that promoted the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones pay-per-view, won the purse bid. They bid 3 times the amount the Top Rank did. So now Teofimo Lopez's next fight against George Kambosos is going to be on Triller. So the fight game is changing because, as I told you, I never watched that Roy Jones Mike Tyson fiasco, but that thing
It was good.
had like 2 million plus buys. It made a lot of money.
Mike was hot.
People want to watch those old men fight. It's not real.
How high?
Yeah, he showed
Up to the sky.
and Roy didn't want no parts of that.
The Top Ranks and the PBCs of the world now got to start worrying about this Triller because they bringing in music.
Snoop
They
Dogg.
get celebrities that have millions of social media followers, and they putting up big numbers. So stay tuned.
And speaking of Triller, they actually, I think either they bought it or they're about to buy it. They just bought the Versus platform that was created by Swiss Beats and Timberland for a quick post-Black History Month. So Triller is definitely on the move right now and doing some exciting things in the entertainment industry.
Wow.
Generating revenue. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They're about to start streaming. They're going to take over. They're going to start streaming.
Yep.
And
Well,
they're
maybe
about
that's
doing
the time for Miss Shields to get on with them and get some promotion.
There you go.
They're talking about making that Versus into a concert series platform. Once we get back to where we can have so they
had the last one in person in New York.
Mhm.
No way.
Let's get to the NFL. It finally happened, fellas.
Who cares? Yeah, whatever.
You got to clap it up for him.
Come on, you got to give Dak props.
You got to give Dak his props.
If we could mention Dak without mentioning the team, I'm all in. Otherwise,
You're absolutely right, G. His agent and lawyers won that battle. This time last year, Dallas thought they had Dak in agreement to a 5-year, $35 million per year deal, so $175 million total, 110 guaranteed. That new agent, because he changed agent, said, "Hold up, wait. I don't think that's a good deal for you." So Dak said, "I'll do $35 million a year, but only do 4 years, and you guarantee 3 up front, so guarantee 105." And Jerry was upset, so Jerry said no. So what he ended up doing was giving Dak $31.4 million last year on the tag, and then he just gave him, and I'm trying to explain this, a 4/6 year deal that's worth $160 million. $66 million to sign his name.
Oh,
Mm, mm, mm. Woo.
Another $9 million for his first year contract. So he's gonna get $75 million of that $160 million within year one.
Mm.
$95 million is totally guaranteed up front.
mm.
And he gets another 31 guaranteed this time next year on the fifth day of the league. So basically, the first 3 years are guaranteed unless Dallas is going to cut him after 1 year and pay him $95 million to go away for 1 year.
Wow.
I should have been
Wow.
practicing on my drop back, laughing.
Wow.
You know what's crazy?
Man,
The crazy thing in this whole situation is that people buck and cry about signing these franchise tags. The best thing that ever happened to Dak Prescott was two things. He signed its franchise last year, number one. And number two, he got hurt, I think, around the 5th or 6th game of the season.
Mhm.
By him getting hurt, he had more money, more leverage, and everything else you want to say, because the issue was the 4th year versus the 5-year contract. So he got everything he wanted, smooth selling as far as negotiations, because like we've mentioned here, Jerry Jones, he can see the end, literally. He can see the end. And he saw Andy Dalton. He saw all he needed to see of Andy Dalton after 1 quarter of play. That's it.
Yep.
He only needed to see Andy because Andy Dalton probably played 1 quarter of play, got a little injured, and then I think he had the COVID or something. But if you recall, when he did play, he was like, "Where's Dak?"
Garbage. Yep. Garbage.
So it's weird how this worked out. You know, by him, like, and in fact, and really, Dak, if you think about it, he played 4 or 5 games, got hurt. It was an ankle injury for the most part. He can heal from that. It's not no ACL or anything like that. Plus, he got to avoid the mess that was COVID. You know, he got to stay away from that mess for the most part. And he just had to sit back and relax, keep his mouth shut, which he did. You know, he wasn't in front of the cameras all the time. He wasn't in the media talking. Everybody else was talking about him, but he wasn't talking. So
see,
it worked out.
the Joneses thought they were smart because it wasn't just Jerry by himself. It was what Stevens, that his name, his son. They thought that by bringing in the Red Rifle, Red Raider, whatever the heck his name is, that he would supplant Dak because they felt that he was coming from Cincinnati. I think he won 1 playoff game, but he was serviceable. And maybe if Dak did get hurt, they would have a quarterback that could come in, still get them to the playoffs and compete, and then he wouldn't have to pay Dak any further, and he could let him walk. Well, like you just explained, Ed, that whole plan backfired because the minute that Dalton got in there, you saw exactly why he was ran out of Cincinnati. So getting hurt played in his favor, just like you say. And now with all the scrutiny of quarterbacks moving around, Dallas already know they're not going to get one of those guys. They're in a bit of a cap situation. So in order to be able to get the quarterback that they need, they had to stay with the one that they already had. There's nothing out there. They don't have the draft position or capital to move up to get one of the 4 or 5 great quarterbacks coming out of college. So they were pretty much over a barrel and they had to pay him. And like you guys said, kudos to his lawyer, his agent. They made sure they turned the screws on Jerry Jones and he had to say no mas and get that contract.
There's 2 more people you forgot in the congratulations column. Carson Wentz and Goff. He should send them bottles of champagne too, because them bums, when they gave them bums contract extensions 2 years before they needed to, Dak was like, "Oh, they got 35 a year. Oh, I'm good.
Right.
I'm gonna just sit back here and collect my money."
Yeah, and Russell Wilson, he proved their cupboards were bare because they couldn't go get him and pull him down to Dallas and tell Dak he could go walking.
Well, that wasn't going to happen anyway. Everybody was like, Dallas should trade for Russ. Dak was like, I'm a free agent. Until I sign that tender, y'all can't do anything with me. I want to go to Seattle and deal with that. So that was crazy. And Dak got a no trade clause. And again, smart lawyers. He made them franchise him today. So in essence, he can't be franchised again, no matter where he goes.
Oh wow.
He got to pay 40% above what the average top five players play.
Nice.
So Dak will be 31 in 4 years. New TV contract kicks in, up for a new contract. Dak could actually make more in the 10-year span than the $450 million that we all went crazy about that Patrick Mahomes signed for. Because he's actually going to make more than what Patrick Mahomes is going to make in the next 4 years. And then he's going to have a new contract. What's the new contract going to be? $50 million a year for 4 years?
And still losing.
I heard it could get up to 70, 75.
Well, everybody said that Mahomes signed a bad deal. I mean, that's universally out there. I mean, everyone said that. People was paying attention to the final number.
He took the Albert Pujols money.
Right.
I think at the end of the day, Lord knows none of us on here are Cowboys fans, but if I was a Cowboys fan, I wouldn't be happy with this. I think you still are not getting what you need. I don't think that Dak, clearly he hasn't over these past few years, hasn't put them in a position where they need, and I don't think that these couple little pieces that they're going to get are going to make Dak shine any more than he has. I think, the Cowboys benefit from the fact that success to them is winning the division and maybe one playoff game. So sure, maybe they'll get there, but they're not gonna really succeed by kind of conventional standards. And I also think they would have had the 10th pick in the NFL draft. If they thought that really that was what they needed was a star quarterback, then I think that there would have been some quarterbacks available for them to go get.
Gee, we agree with you.
Dallas's losses on Dak. Their defense has sucked for 3 years. Their offensive line has been rated one of the worst offensive lines for 3 years. People talk about that offensive line like it was when Dak was a rookie.
Smell like boo-boo.
That way since rookie year. This thing got hurt, one retired, and they're old. He got a terrible offensive line and a terrible defense. What are you supposed to do? Throw the ball, catch the ball, and tackle?
Mm-hmm. Let's put it on the record. Like Dak is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
At the bottom of the division.
Hey, but G is right. Gianna is actually right. But we're not arguing whether or not he's a top 2 or 3 quarterback. We're arguing whether or not he deserves to be paid like he's a top 10 quarterback. Whenever historically it's proven with the quarterback position that when it's time for you to get paid, you should be paid commensurate with your other peers. We're not, Gianna, you're absolutely right. I don't think Dak is that great. I understand that, but at the same time, it's his time to get paid. That's just how they play. They judge quarterbacks and they pay him different than everybody else.
If you look at all the stats on Dak is a top 5 QB since he's been in the league in everything except for wins. And the wins the last 2 years haven't been his fault. The defense has been terrible.
He plays the NFC East 6 times a year.
And Ed, I think you mentioned it. Jerry Jones don't have a whole lot of time. So when he rolled a dice on a rookie and you really don't know how long it'll take to get them developed, or you look at what you have in the quarterback and how he's played since he came in the league and you roll the dice on him. Mm-hmm. He wants to win a Super Bowl. I don't see how, but that's what he's banking on.
All right, so we talked about the franchise tag with Dak. Just to let y'all know, today was the last day for teams to franchise tag players. There were a total of 9 franchise tags given. Wide receiver Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay Bucks, was franchised. Wide receiver Allen Robinson with Chicago Bears was franchised. Left tackle Cam Robinson with Jacksonville. Right tackle Taylor Moton with Carolina. Safety Marcus May with the Jets. Safety Justin Simmons with Denver, who was tagged for the second time. Defensive lineman Leonard Williams for the Giants. And safety Marcus Williams for the Saints. And the Washington football team put the second tag on Brandon Scherff.
What a waste.
And they paying Brandon Sheriff $18 million this coming year, and they say they want to do a long-term deal. If I'm getting $18 million, if you want me to do a long-term deal, that means the deal got to start at $18 million. I'm sorry.
That's crazy, man.
That's a non-starter. He ain't worth that.
Mm-mm.
That's crazy. And he always hurt, man.
Yep.
Always hurt. I don't know what their love affair is with this guy. I just don't get it.
He can play multiple positions on the line. That's what they like about him.
What he gonna play if he missed half the season, Jay Wills?
I'm with you.
I don't care what he do.
In the field.
I'm with you.
Now, what you say, G?
He's gonna play the bench and the field.
Well, that's what I
For
said when we
18
had
mil?
Trent Williams. That's what I said about Trent Williams. Get rid of him.
I want his agent if he getting 18 mil for playing half the season on the bench and half on the field.
Well, we got to give him a little props. Last year, he played 14 games out of 16, and he didn't
look good.
All Pro.
And he didn't look good to me. I don't care what they voted him. I watched every game. He ain't look good to me. I'm sorry. Sometimes that's name recognition, just like Trent still get name recognition, but really don't play that well.
Not at all.
Trent getting ready to get a new contract with San Francisco.
See what I'm saying? Case in point.
Good. Keep him there.
Speaking about new contracts, the last thing we want to hear about the NFL. Ed, your boy Big Ben kindly agreed to restructure his contract. It's a 3-year deal, but it's really only a 1-year deal because the last 2 years are automatically voidable. But they had to add those years to spread out his $46.5 million cap hit that he's getting ready to get and bring that down to a little more manageable number. So he took a $5 million pay cut. I just got a question. Why did they just tell Ben to go home?
Because they don't have any succession plans. And in Pittsburgh, they have to at least be competitive. Everything they have behind him doesn't equal competitiveness. I know the season went, sideways this year. I'm not saying I don't blame him for it. He played okay, even down the stretch he played okay. But every Pittsburgh fan out there in America and in the world will tell you that the alternative, Mason Rudolph, and an unproven, strip club attending Dwayne Haskins. No, they got 1 year. Ben gave them 1 year, a solid, to get it together. Because that's all they have is 1 year. That's it. So they had no choice but to re-sign him. They had no choice.
And it sounds like they're gonna let Bud Dupree test the market.
Yeah, they done used him up. He done blew his knee out. Yeah. Look, football's a dirty business. Right. I guarantee you, if his knee wouldn't have been got blown out against, I think, was it Washington? Or was it I can't remember, but it was the 11th game. I think it was Washington. Or no, it was Baltimore. I'm sorry.
Baltimore, yeah.
When his knee got blown out, after that fiasco, as far as those that rescheduling, Pittsburgh knew they wasn't going to re-sign him to a long-term deal because TJ Watt's getting ready to get one. And number two, they wasn't going to franchise him again because he's damaged goods. It's just the way it is, man. So it's sad to say, but that's just the way it is.
And it's getting ready to get worse because with the new salary cap, they haven't said what the final number is going to be, but the minimum is going to be somewhere between $180 to $185 million, which is down from the $198.2 million it was in 2020. And this will be the first time ever that the salary cap has gone down. So there's going to be a lot of people out there on the market, names that people know. They'll be like, damn, they cut him?
A lot of one-year deals coming up.
So you'll see this, and a lot of one-year deals. So you'll see starting the rest of this week, there's some big names going to be out on the market that thought they was going to get new deals. They're going to be looking and be like, what happened? Like your boy Juju. Juju ain't Jujuing anymore on them logos. He looking for a new team. So get ready for NFL agency legal tampering period starts Monday, and the actual free agency starts a week from tomorrow. So you'll start seeing some big signings in the first 3 days, and then everybody else will, take what they can get out of the scraps. NCAA championship week starts this week. Oh, Jay Wills, you back. So real quick for you college basketball fans, we haven't talked a lot about college basketball because quite frankly, with all the COVID mess, it's been kind of hard to really track and see who's really good. But in the women's game, we got, like to say, congrats to NC State that beat Louisville to win the ACC tournament. University of South Carolina coach Don Staley beat Georgia and coach Joni Taylor in the first ever SEC title game coached by two black coaches, and they happen to be two black female coaches.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What a game. I think that may have been the first major Power 5 conference title game with two black female coaches as well. UConn did what UConn does. They won another easy Big East. And their super freshman, Paige Beckers, she won Freshman of the Year, Big East Player of the Year, and then won the MVP of the Big East tournament.
Nice.
And don't forget, UConn has the number 1 rated player coming in out of St. John's.
That's right.
It's AZ, who was actually ranked higher than Paige Beckers was before she got injured. And they're not losing anybody off of this squad this year. At ECU. So
Crazy.
UConn can ready to put it up.
Again.
Dynasty.
And then we got to give props to University of Maryland Women's Terps. The Big Ten tourney starts this week. Lady Terps won another Big Ten regular season title. Brenda with 5 new starters, 4 new people to the program. She has 3 transfers and a freshman. And she's got those young ladies at, I think it's 21 and 2. Doing big things.
Nice.
All the major men's tournament conference championships start this week, but we got to give some recognition to the University of Gonzaga. For years, Gonzaga's been that school in Washington people heard about. Yeah, they're supposed to be so good when they get tourney time, and then they don't play well. They've won. First of all, they're the only undefeated team left in the men's basketball Division I. Their last 22 games, they won by double digits.
Wow.
That hasn't happened in 40 years. So they're the clear-cut favorite, and it looks like them and Baylor may be coming to a showdown. But Michigan, Iowa, don't forget that basketball school, University of Alabama, ranked number 7 in the country. It's going to be a good tournament. So if you happen to be working from home and you can put a TV in the corner starting Thursday, well, you can have a good time. Just saying. Jay Wills.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about that NBA All-Star game, sir?
I enjoyed it. I thought a lot of guys weren't going to play hard, so it was good to see that they were in light spirit, considering the country being engulfed in a pandemic, though there are many things that we'll put it like this. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Them boys came out and played ball. I was happy to see LeBron give it a go. I wish KD would have been out there. It was nice to see some of the young guys. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if, as much props I give to Steph Curry, I'm also keeping an eye on Trae Young in Atlanta. He's starting off hot. Steph didn't have that start. Trae is a little bit healthier earlier on. So as far as 3 points made, he could probably catch him. But as far as overall impact, Trey definitely mirrors his game a lot after Steph Curry. The dunk contest, I could have recorded that and accidentally deleted it later. And I'd have been fine. Thank you to my man Sense, Dame Time. He shot a behind half court shot, flat footed. I mean, from his feet, just like a regular jumper. That's incredible. One, that's a testament to his range and his strength and his dedication overall to practice a shot like that. That lets you know he's ready for the end of the game, the last 2-3 minutes. He is an assassin. In fact, he's been so consistent with his jumper that when Paul George was playing for OKC, if anyone remembers, he called one of his game winners that actually kicked OKC out the tournament. He called it a bad shot. In recent days, he's taken that back. He now realizes Dame was built for this life. He clearly sleeps on a basketball court, and this man is just a gift to the game. So I want to thank Sense for throwing that up. Appreciate y'all. But as far as the mid-season standings, of course, if you look at the Eastern Conference last year, there was so much disparity in between the top-tier teams and the low-tier teams. You don't have as much as that anymore this year. It's a lot more balanced. There's only 6 games in between the top-tier team. That'll be your Philadelphia 76ers, and your 8th seed, that'll be your Toronto Raptors, who are 17-19. So it's a lot closer than it's been in recent years. Of course, that's due to a lot of trading and signing that's going back and forth. Of course, the Brooklyn Nets are beefed up top, and they are your number 2 team in that division in the Eastern Conference, standing at 24-13. So I'm looking to see a ultra competitive last quarter of the season as these gentlemen do what they need to do. But it's important also to keep in mind, since everything's a little bit tighter than it used to be, that Toronto and the Hornets need to watch their back. The Bulls, the Pacers, and the Atlanta Hawks are just one game behind the 8th and 7th seed. So towards the end of this season, the last 10 to 15 games, it's going to be a dogfight. I think you're going to get some excellent games coming out of the Eastern Conference towards the end of this season. How do you guys feel about it thus far?
Jay Wills, I got a quick question for you, real quick. Well, what do you think? What do you think about my man Blake Griffin going to the Brooklyn Nets? Speak on it.
I don't know Blake was only averaging, it's coming off the top of my head, about anywhere between 12 to 14 points when he was in Detroit. He filled a bit of a gap that was left by Andre Drummond. So Detroit at the time was still playing fairly usual style of half-court basketball. Once he goes out to the Nets, the thing with the Nets, they play a lot of one-on-one free-flowing basketball. I don't know if their offense stands to benefit, at least their starting side of the offense stands to benefit with a 4 that can't move as much. Now, his shot has improved. Will he take more three-pointers? What will his role be? Is he just going to be okay with rebounding, or is he on a revenge season himself? I don't know. So being that he is a smart, intelligent player, I know he can definitely play his bench role well, come in there, give you a solid 12 minutes. But does he want that? Does he want more than that? Does he still have a lot left in the tank? He's 32. That could be old, or it could be very young in basketball years, depending who you're talking about. So I think what he ultimately do will have to be seen. I have to wait to see it. Great question. But Ed, no, the Wizards, they're not even going to sniff the playoffs. They shouldn't use the word play, the word off. Delete that from their vocabulary. They just need to focus on in-house. Are you going to keep Russell Westbrook? Is that the answer to your situation? Comparing him up with Bill for another 3-4 years, how will that actually work out in the long run?
It won't.
The surprise team to me in my opinion, would be the Hornets.
Charlotte. Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, LaMelo Ball is playing amazing basketball. He has some of the best, I wouldn't say out of college, but fresh out European League court vision I've seen in my life. He can get up and down the floor. He has unlimited energy, but of course he's a young buck. He's a kid. That's what you would expect. But he came in shape, unlike Zion last year. But he's playing some amazing basketball. He has no fear. If you know his brother over the years, his brother was almost scared to shoot. The minute LaMelo got on the floor, I mean, as soon as he checks into a game, the arm is up. It's out. He's making fun of people, letting them know they're too small. He's thoroughly enjoying himself. He's exactly what you expect out of a kid who had two bigger brothers playing basketball all the time, and he got the best of both of them. The minute Lonzo started doing NBA drills, it caused his brother 4 or 5 years younger to start doing NBA-like or college-like drills. So LaMelo has been getting ready for this for a very long time. And him, the combination of Scary Terry and everybody else down there in Charlotte, they look to have like they have something brewing. Another team that I would like to identify would be the Boston Celtics. Now, should there be any pressure on Brad Stevens' back? He's had a combination of top picks, savvy veterans. You had Kyrie for a while. You decided to get rid of Scary Terry. Scary Terry is open hand slapping every defender he come across in Charlotte. He's making shots. He's playing exciting basketball. One thing for sure, granted they did have a lot of picks, but a lot of times when these young guys come in, they're coming in at a very young age, 19, 20. Though I want to put a lot of pressure on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, would you all believe that these 4 or 5 year vets, only 23 years old, is it fair to put that much pressure on 23-year-olds to get over the hump? What do you all think?
Yeah. Yes. Because if you look at Golden State, how old were they when they started putting it together to start putting down championships? It wasn't too far along. Boston has a lot of pressure on them right now because that team, the moves that Ainge made was to put this team in championship lore. They have not achieved that. They have underachieved every single year the last 4 years with that team. They've been moving parts around, trying to see what sticks. And it still hasn't produced the championship. And then to another point real quick, because we got to give love to Mike Conley for making his first All-Star game. I think he is one of the most underrated point guards in the game for the last 14, 15 years. And he finally got a shot to showcase himself on that All-Star weekend. I also want to say this. It was quite funny what LeBron said about the Utah Jazz and not even picking them in the video game. But them boys got chips on their shoulders. And I'm glad that Gobert, I'm glad that Mitchell and Conley, they taking it in stride, but they saying, you know what? We're going to tear through the second half of this season. We'll see if we match up with the Lakers, how much trash you got to talk then when we try to put y'all out of the playoffs. And then lastly, thank you, BJ. The BCU Tennessee University player, Tennessee State, Robert Covington is his name. He did a phenomenal job. This young man donated an entire gym to his alma mater. And I thought them showcasing him over the weekend was phenomenal. So kudos to him for doing that for his school.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Hey, Jay Wills, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. This is your world, Ed.
To answer the one thing about the Celtics, echoing what J3 would probably say, I'm not speaking for him, but would probably say as far as is it too much to ask of young players to have that much pressure or that type of pressure on them? J3, he probably would say they get paid.
Right.
That's one.
They are getting paid.
Number two is Chris Paul the most underrated player in the last maybe 10, 15 years in the league? Because it seems like wherever he goes, they win.
Exactly. He my all-time point guard. I don't care. I like Magic, but I like Chris Paul.
That was a question, Jay Wills. What you think?
All of you all are talking absolutely right. And it actually transitions us into the Western Conference. First, to tap into what Professor Jay was saying, The Jazz are 27-9 and sitting at the top of the Western Conference right now. And tapping Chris Paul went to a Phoenix Suns team that was scratching to get the 8th seed. They're now sitting at the 2nd seed at 24-11. And I guarantee you, everybody and their mother will let you know it's because CP3 is in town. They now have they're running an organized, fluid offense. CP is keeping those young guys accountable. Devin Booker, he's definitely a star, but he seems to be soft-spoken. Sometimes if you want to take that next step, you need somebody to push you all to get there. You may not necessarily get it from the coach because now you got an HR department. You can't talk to people so tough. But CP is a veteran. He's an OG. If CP pull up on you and talk some trash, either you're going to respect him or you're going to have something happen to you like happens in a State Farm commercial. And I'm sure you don't want a trash can falling on your head or anything of that nature. So, yes, you're absolutely right. CP is, I call him point guard. You know what I'm saying? He gets the job done. He's a tremendous teammate. He knows how to organize an offense. He doesn't get flustered by the moment. And he can tell you about every team. It's the benefit of having a vet. And it blows my mind that so many young and hungry teams would overlook the guidance that a CP3 would provide when he could tell you about every team that plays. That's one of the benefits if you pick up a Brady, a LeBron, one of these OGs who's been in the game 15, 16, 17, 18 years. I just know what they're doing over there because I've been playing this game so long.
Chris Paul's issue, though, is he's good in short segments because, unfortunately, he's OG, like you said. He's old school. Everybody got to play hard. If you're not playing hard, I'm going to dig into your behind. And you're going to hear about it on the court, after the game, doing film, and tomorrow. So, unfortunately, most players don't like to deal with that, and they can only deal with it for a short period of time. So, it's good for him to be on these young teams because he's showing these young future stars how to be pros and how to be successful. And then after 2 or 3 years, it's time for him to move on. The next 2 or 3 years will be time for him to retire.
And he also takes being traded like a man. He could haul off and snap and start demanding this, that, and the third because he's definitely put in the work. But he's been bounced around the last 2-3 years. And I wonder if he's given the opportunity to ring chase, would he? Would he chase the money or would he chase the ring? Which I think will be very interesting over the next 2-3 years. Because I can definitely see him playing a Rondo-like role like he did for the Lakers last year with somebody in the future. I think he has a lot left in the tank. As you're correct, I don't think he's going to go 30 plus minutes in games anymore. But I think his minutes may increase and become more impactful as his game slows down, as the playoff game slows down, making him more impactful every possession.
Hey, Jay,
so
I will never forgive Commissioner Stern for blocking that trade that would have put Chris Paul with Kobe Bryant back in the day. He got robbed of getting at least 2 rings.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. They should have ran it up. That was supposed to be it. Right. Yeah. I was looking forward to that. I don't understand why they did that. I hated it very much.
The way he said it, it was competitive balance.
Jay Wills, let me ask you a question. Do you think CP3 is actually better than Tony Parker?
Oh, yeah.
I say so.
I'm going to say CP3 is better than Tony Parker. But CP3 has had the benefit of he played for New Orleans. I seen he was a dog there. He played for the Clippers. I seen he was a dog there. He turned around a Phoenix team. I forget who he played with last year. OKC. He improves them. So I love Tony Parker. I think he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. But the one thing I know for sure is that CP3 can take his talents on the road. He can reinvigorate dead organizations and bring some stability. What I don't know about Tony Parker is what holds me back from giving him the edge. Now, I know Tony Parker is definitely a championship caliber player. But he also benefits from a scenario where you got a top-tier coach. You had Tim Duncan with you, David Robb early. I don't know if he was around with David Robb, but you had a coach
Kawhi Leonard.
Culture early on, right? You got a
Ginobili
that preaches culture. You had a lot of guys that gave into that culture as well. So there's a lot going on with that soup they were cooking up over there in San Antonio. You still got the coach now, but you don't have the players. So things changed. So I think my man Parker did what he thought was necessary, what was necessary for his career, and staying in San Antonio.
Yo, if they had Chris Paul, they'd still be winning championships.
They would, you know, and he would.
LeBron wouldn't have saw nothing.
So is AD gonna get healthy for the end of this year, so the Lakers can actually be relevant? Because no AD, the Lakers don't win.
Oh no!
Wow.
I completely agree. Without AD, if you don't have at least a 1-2 punch, you're probably not getting out the Western Conference, and you definitely don't want to have any troubles in the back alley with the Brooklyn Nets if you only got LeBron. But the Clippers look good this year. These guys are actually 24-14. Trailblazers with a invigorated Carmelo Anthony. He's playing some solid ball. They're 21-14. What surprised me is your boy Luka Doncic and company. They're actually only 18-16. Mm-hmm. They're the bottom seed of the the bottom 8th seed. So their first rendezvous, and I don't know if that's a good matchup for them or not. If the playoffs were to start right now, would be against the Utah Jazz.
Mm-hmm. Nope, that would not be favorable.
But don't forget, we're gonna have those playing tournaments again this year, like they did in the bubble. So you're gonna have 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, and 10 all play to win those last 2 seeds. So all you got to do is be in the top 10, and you got a chance to make the playoffs.
That's interesting. Since the Lakers are 24-13. Suns got a better record than them. Since one.
I want you to mention them Lakers, boy.
He ain't gonna sleep well if you don't mention them Lakers.
But I ultimately think we got the Lakers coming out the Western Conference. I believe the Nets should come out of the Eastern Conference. Philly is number 1. Ed, you spend a lot of time in the Pennsylvania area. If Philly doesn't get the job done this year and at least goes to the Eastern Conference Finals, is there going to be smoke in the city?
Nah, because they're going to go. Because really, think about it. When playoff time comes, the Nets aren't automatically all of a sudden going to start playing defense. And when they start slowing games down in the playoffs, it's always been that way. It's not like, even Golden State used to play defense. People get it mixed up and think that they was just fun and gun, but them dudes was balling out playing defense also.
Amazing.
So, and the Golden State team and the Brooklyn Nets team, they don't resemble anything except the fact that KD played for both of them. Other than that, they don't play. There's no defense being played in Brooklyn. So I think Philly's going to come out. I honestly do. I honestly believe that. Yeah, and I believe that if Miami can finally get it, find a way to get in, as Toronto. Look,
I'm not an upset for Philly, or did Brooklyn break down?
Jay Wills, the regular season in the NBA means nothing.
It does. Absolutely, I agree.
So that's all. Yeah,
it does.
The problem Brooklyn's going to have with Philly is that big man in the middle.
Right.
Nobody
Joel Embiid
at all.
He playing the MVP-like season right now. He looking at
sleeping
now anyway.
Already. Wow.
I thought he was going to go Mutombo one night. He looked like he was about to go no. He was looking amazing out there. So, yeah, I agree. Philly should get the job done. I want Ben to take a few shots. He's not going to do it. He's going to have to this year. If it comes down between them and the Nets, you're going to have to outscore them. He's a great defender. I love him on the defensive end. You heard LeBron and KD showing him some love, saying the man goes 24/7. He plays every play. And I agree. But I think definitely when the game slows down in the playoffs and you end up battling the Nets to go to the championship series, you're going to have to outscore them guys. I believe it. They're too creative. Kyrie can get his own shot. KD can get his own shot. KD doesn't have to force getting his own shot. He just steps across half court and jumps with that 6'11", 7-foot frame, and he can knock it down from anywhere. So Philly is definitely going to have they're going to have to play the world's greatest defense you ever seen, and I haven't seen Bill Laimbeer in years, or Ben Simmons is going to have to start shooting the three a little bit, at least make them respect it.
But Kyrie's not even going to be there. He's going to be hurt. History tells you Kyrie won't even be there at the playoffs.
And that's a good way to end our NBA segment. So we look forward to the second half of the NBA. Professor, it's time for your takes. If you're ready,
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kick it off with a couple of women's history facts here. Did you know that Teresa Phillips of Vanderbilt University in 1976 was the first Black female basketball scholarship athlete? She was a dominant force for Vanderbilt. And man, you got to see some of her highlights. I guarantee you will be floored by how dominant this woman was and what she had to go through in order to even get to that stage of integrating a campus down in the South. Shout out to Lakers owner Jeannie Buss on her interview about speaking concerning the incredible heights that women are reaching in the world of amateur and professional sports and beyond. Man, what y'all laughing at, man?
These comments, man.
Y'all breaking my concentration. All right. So Dak got his contract and he still has to produce. It is not enough to win the NFC East. Each team has done that recently except the Giants. Sorry, Karen. With this type of contract, the expectations are Super Bowl championship. With the quarterback coming off of a horrific injury and seemingly unmotivated running back, and a wide receiver paid like the best, but plays more like a top 20 wide receiver instead of a top 5. There have been rumors by former players of a toxic locker room and distasteful front office. Let's give Dak kudos for winning the standoff. He now has his money, but it is questionable if this is a championship franchise. They missed the kiss. There is no doubt that Anthony Simons of the Portland Trailblazers is a young phenom that can jump out the gym. The issue is that he should not have won the dunk contest. The final dunk was not spectacular. The ups are there, truly, but we knew that already. Had he actually kissed the rim and slammed it, he deserved it. Obi Toppin's final dunk was better, plain and simple. The second year in a row that the judges have not gotten it right. I am convinced that the Dwayne Wade has cursed the judging of the contest forever. Am I hearing feedback? What's going on?
No, that's Big Red.
Right, COVID protocols. He couldn't kiss the rim.
Huh? That was not how it was described. And now you coming with some left field stuff. On the broadcast, they was like, man, he should have kissed the rim. That would have been tight if he had kissed the rim and actually flushed it down. Bottom line, it was a regular weak dunk. He shouldn't have run off. Right. Moving on, man. Y'all disturbing me tonight. All right. Taking down the king. The NBA has proven that there is collusion of a brand new proportion. Every team's making moves to take down one LeBron James. The NBA did it to Kobe, and they did it to Mike. In the last few episodes of this soap opera, it's had the face of KD, Mr. Weak Move, is always joining them to beat him. He did it in Golden State, and he is doing it now in Brooklyn. Also in breaking news, Kawhi Leonard is following suit. The truth is, without AD, these cats will get their wishes granted. Modern day stolen legacy. And if you didn't get that one, pick up that book. Must give love to the NBA for saluting and showing love to HBCUs. The entire All-Star festivities gave homage to the outstanding legacies of HBCUs and what they have done to forge society and not just in sports. This went a long way in destroying the myths and lies that our schools do not produce the absolute best men and women in the world. So proud of being a product of an HBCU, Morehouse College. We have Bowie State, Howard, UDC, Tuskegee, Virginia State, and Fort Valley State blood in my family. Championship implications. In men's college basketball, Gonzaga versus Baylor seems like a real collision course. I know that the tournament always has a Cinderella. There are tons of upsets. We have some good stories, some players that can put teams on their backs, but this feels different. These two teams seem to be poised to meet each other in what could be an epic and historical battle for men's college basketball championship lore. Tag me now or tag me not. The NFL is in full swing of its game of tag. To me, it's more of ring around the rosy. Anyway, as teams contemplate the long-term future of certain players, they get to continue this game of show me. Whether we like it or not, the moves are done to benefit the franchise over the player. If you want change, it starts at the boardroom table. Some teams will get it right while others continue to fail at the tag game. Russell Wilson has been omitted from the letter sent out to season ticket holders by the Seattle Seahawks. I am sure that Wilson is muttering the words, message received. Russell's trade list got smaller with the re-signing of Dak in Dallas, but I am sure that Wilson still wants out. Here's another drama involving a black quarterback that will get worse before it gets better. Keep watching. Congratulations to Bryson DeChambeau, a slightly lovable villain on the PGA Tour. He won Bay Hill on Sunday and did it in style. Like a great baseball home run hitter, he digs the long ball. En route to victory, DeChambeau cleared the lake with a 377-yard bomb. He finished the hole with a birdie. Despite that highlight, he beat Lee Westwood and the field because his wedge and putt games are vicious. After the victory, the cherry on top was a call from none other than Tiger Woods to congratulate him. The Washington football team did not surprise anyone by applying the franchise tag to oft-injured and sometimes unmotivated right guard Brandon Scherf. I will not go all in on this one. We know how I feel about this move. I will say that keeping him on this line buys some time to get the line solidified and to prepare to make better decisions with the quarterback position. This defense has a 4-year window, so the offense needs to catch up soon. And these are our takes for this night. Back to you, Big Rage.
Appreciate that, Professor. Appreciate that, Professor. I'd like to say hello to Jay Wills Jr. What's going on?
Hey, Jay
Look at
Wills.
little man.
Couple of quick things to caught our eye, and we're going to get on out of here. Your boy Kawhi Leonard has said he wants to play in the Olympics this year and wants to play for Pop one more time. So we'll see if that happens. You mentioned Mike Conley early. Him and Steph put on a show in the three-point contest.
Mm-hmm.
That was an excellent show right before the All-Star game on Sunday. And your man DeMontis Sabonis out of Indiana made Daddy proud winning the skills contest.
Sure did.
6'11" guy with hands like that, draining three-pointers. That's interesting. Lastly, I want to say, I'm not going to say congratulations, but just to make everybody aware, if you follow NASCAR, Kyle Larson won this weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This was his 4th race with his new team, Hendrick Motorsports. If y'all remember, Kyle Larson was the young man who, during the virtual racing, used a racial slur. Said it was in jest to one of his friends and ended up being suspended for the season. So sometimes you see things change and sometimes they stay the same, and I'll leave it at that. Some good boxing on this weekend. If you have the Zone, check out the Zone. They got championship card. And David Benavidez fights Ronald Ellis on Showtime this Saturday. All right, fellas, it's time for us to get out of here. It's time for our final takes. Let's start with G. What would you like to say there?
Oh, sure. So my final post is for my shotgun, who last week became the NFL's first Black female referee. So join the sole other female referee who is Caucasian. I look forward to kind of seeing her games, and there's been controversy around the NFL refs in these recent years, so I hope she does a good job.
Nice, very nice, very nice. J3, what you got?
Just want to say happy birthday to my mom. She celebrated her 74th birthday. Yay, mama! I love you.
Blessed birthday.
Happy birthday, Mama Somerville. Professor.
Yeah, my final take is for Mrs. Vanessa Bryant. I just ask for just prayers and understanding as they continue to grieve the loss of Kobe Bryant. She's still fighting a few legal battles. She just won a court case today where she could find out the names of the officers who actually leaked the photos of the actual helicopter crash at the time that it happened. And I think the insensitivity of that moment, and even to some people now, they're still grieving the loss of a daughter and a husband. And what he meant to them is far greater than what he meant to us. And I think we need to remember that and continue to support them, pray for them, and do everything that you can as they still heal from that tragic loss from a little more than a year ago.
Well said, well said. Jay Wills.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm feeling the. We did that already. Just want to say.
Why are you crazy?
Everyone stay safe. Continue to protect yourself. I'm just excited about fatherhood. It's just a new journey for me. I want to talk to everybody. Then you realize everybody fathers. So just happy, man. Those who pray, keep me in prayer.
Amen.
Congrats again on little man. He getting big.
Yeah.
Good to see. What you got for me, Ed?
Yeah, I'm tired of the NCAA and these big time college football programs, basketball programs, etc. This past week, University of Kansas fired head coach, football coach Les Miles, and gave him $1.9 million on his way out the door because of allegations that occurred when he was a head coach at LSU and sexual misconduct and inappropriate touching of young ladies. First of all, they hired him. When they vet these coaches in big time programs, they know the trash and everything that comes along with it. But most importantly, let's be honest. Les Miles did not get fired because of something that happened at LSU, however horrific it was in 2013 and before that. Les Miles got fired because in 2 years he was 3-18. This past year being 0-9. That's the reason Les Miles got fired. Even at a horrible football program school like Kansas, that's the reason Les Miles got fired. So let's stop this
slander
facade. Let's stop this believing that these programs care about women and their issues that they face on a daily basis. They didn't care about these young ladies when they hired them, and they don't care about them now that he's gone. That's all I got.
Excellent point. And they don't care about them when they bring these recruits in and use students as hosts to try to entice the male athletes to come to the universities.
He got game.
My representation matters, everyone. We need more women in these front offices.
Absolutely. And on that point, I'd like to say it's a day late, but we want to acknowledge International Women's Day, which was yesterday. Today is Women's Month. Yesterday was International Women's Day. And each and every day we need to acknowledge and be thankful for all the contributions that women make throughout this world to make this world a better place. And I'd just like to personally thank all of our moms, for those of us who are married, our wives, our beautiful daughters, and all the women in our families and extended families. Thank you for all that you do for your family, for your communities, for your job. at Post. We appreciate all your efforts. And we know that you're the backbone of this society. So, in recognition again of International Women's Day, thank you all, ladies. We really appreciate you. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Please tune in next Tuesday at 7 p.m. for our next live show. We hopefully won't have any glitches up at the beginning of the show, so we're going to knock it out. You can also download any previous shows on our Facebook or YouTube channels, Positional Sports Talk Show. Please like and subscribe if you visit the pages. You can hit us up on Facebook at Positions on Sports. Our Twitter is Positions on SPO1. We'd love to hear from you. We appreciate you as always. Look forward to seeing you next week. And this has been the Positional Sports Show Talk Show. We'll see you next week. Appreciate you. Peace.
See you.
Remix. Chill. We back, y'all. Boom, 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 boom. Gianna, how much to get?